Okay, I'm going to walk you through this. 1 digit, do nothing, decimal points at the end, so fill in with zeros. 1 digit, up 1, decimal points at the end, so fill the gap. 1 figure, arrow says do nothing, decimal point is at the end, fill in with zeros. 1 figure, arrow says go up, you're left with a gap between your underlined and your decimal points, put a 0 in. 1 figure, arrow says do nothing, decimal points at the end, you've got 2 gaps, 0, 0. 1 figure, arrow says do nothing, decimal point is at the end, 3 gaps, 3 zeros. 2 figures, 1, 2, arrow says do nothing, so 35, decimals at the end, 0. 2 figures, arrow says go up 1, decimal points at the end, gap, 0. 1, 2. 6 says go up, so it goes up to that, decimal points at the end, 2 gaps, 2 zeros. 2 figures. 9 says go up, you've no gap, underline, decimal point, no gap. 1, 2, arrow says do nothing, decimal points at the end, 1 gap between your underlined and your point. 1, 2, arrow says go up, no gaps. Now, 3 figures. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says go up, and you've no gaps. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says up, and you've got a gap, 0. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says do nothing, no gaps. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says go up, so 3, 8, 4. Decimal points at the end, 1 gap. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says do nothing, no gaps. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says go up. You'll notice in each of these, I never move the decimal point. It sits. So you never, ever, ever move it. So, which of these, oh goodness, 1 significant figure. This one to 1 significant figure, 1 figure, arrow says do nothing, it's 200. 1 significant figure, arrow says go up. 1 significant figure, arrow says do nothing. 1 significant figure, that's your arrow, arrow says do nothing. 1 figure, arrow says go up. 1 figure, arrow says do nothing. 1 figure, arrow says go up. So which one's round to 200? The first one, 246. This one, 224.6. Sorry, 224.6. 216.3. 225.3. And that's it. Now I've got to go through them all again. For 2 significant figures, I have a PM. 1, 2. Arrow says go up. 1, 2. Arrow says go up. 1, 2. Arrow says do nothing. 1, 2. The arrow's over here now. It says go up. 1, 2. Arrow says do nothing. 1, 2. Arrow says go up. 1, 2. Arrow says go up. So which of them are 250? This first one, so 246 and 254.8. Now 3 significant figures. That already is at 3 figures. And that one's at 3 figures. 3 figures, arrow says go up, so 225. So that round it up. 1, 2, 3, arrow says do nothing. 1, 2, 3, arrow says go up. 1, 2, 3, arrow says do nothing. So that's one of the ones I want. So 225.3. And that's already at 3 figures. Okay, let's see how we go on with page 78. Right, we'll do 3 figures first. Actually, we'll do 1 figure, then I can add to it. 1 figure. Arrow says nothing. Decimal points at the end. 3 gaps. 1. We'll do that the whole way down, sure. 1 figure. Arrow says do nothing. Decimal points at the end. 3 gaps. 1. Arrow says do nothing. 1 gap. Underline once. Arrow says do nothing. 1 gap. Start here. Arrow says go up 1. Start here. Arrow says do nothing. Start here. Arrow says go up. So that goes up to 1.0. It's quite a tricky one there. One figure. Arrow says do nothing. Start here at the first proper non-zero digit. Arrow says do nothing. Start here at the 4. Arrow says nothing. Start in at the 5. Arrow says nothing. Now we'll go through all of them for two significant figures. 1, 2. Arrow says do nothing. 2 gaps. 1, 2. Arrow is here. It says do nothing. 2 gaps. 1, 2. Arrow is now here. It says go up 1, but I have no gaps. 1, 2. Arrow is here. The 8 tells you to go up 1. No gaps. 1, 2. Arrow is here. Go up 1. No gaps. 1, 2. Arrow is here. Do nothing. 1, 2. Arrow is here. Up it goes. Sorry, do nothing. So 1, 2. Arrow is here. Do nothing. 1, 2. Arrow is here. Up 1. 1, 2. Arrow is here. Do nothing. 1, 2. Arrow is here. Do nothing. And lastly, you remember you start at the first non-zero? So start there. Arrow is here. Do nothing. Right. 3 significant figures. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says do nothing. Put a 0 in because you've got a gap. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says go up 1. And then you've got a gap. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says go up 1. And remember the decimal point is never moving. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says up 1. Decimal point doesn't move. Remember you start at the first non-zero. So 1, 2, 3. There's nothing to do there. No rounding, just the same. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says nothing. 1, 2, 3. Arrow says up 1. 1, 2, 3. Arrow is here. Do nothing. 1, 2, 3. Arrow is at the 8. Up 1. 1, 2, 3. Arrow is at the 9. Up 1. And 1, 2, 3. Arrow is at the 7. So this goes up 1.